Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Today's been a really interesting day. I'm spending it relaxing in my home. Slept in. Hope to have slept in longer, but was up by 8 and in meeting right away. Realized that all of my baby sheep have been murdered by the mountain lion that lives near. And it just kind of pushed me into this interesting space of wanting to write a speech and writing to share my thoughts. And I'm going to be writing it in a blog soon, but here it goes. Hello, guys and girls. I want to begin with a simple question. What if the power to change the future of humanity already exists within each of us? Not through wealth, not through political power, not through technology, but through thought. We live in a remarkable moment in history. Humanity has developed extraordinary abilities. We can split atoms, we can map the human genome. We can send spacecrafts beyond our solar system. Yet we are still struggling with something very ancient, and that is violence. War continues, retaliation continues, fear continues. And today our capacity to destroy may be growing faster than our capacity to reason. If that continues, the consequences could be catastrophic, and not only for one nation or another, but for the species called humanity and the planet called Earth. So we have to ask a deeper question. How do civilizations change? How do human beings evolve? One answer may lie in something simple that we often overlook: the power of collective thought. Imagine a still body of water. When you drop a pebble into it, it ripples, spread outward in circles. Eventually, those ripples disappear from sight, but the energy keeps moving into infinity. Our thoughts may work in a similar way. Every thought enters the shared field of human awareness. Every thought interacts with the thoughts of others. Love resonates with love, compassion resonates with compassion, anger resonates with anger, and violence resonates with violence. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake described something called morphic resonance. The idea suggests that patterns of thought and behavior can spread through groups like waves through water. At the frontier of quantum physics, scientists discovered something else that's fascinating. At the deepest levels of reality, the universe behaves in ways that challenge our assumptions about separation. Systems interact so deeply that the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. Human consciousness may function in a similar way. If enough people begin thinking differently, the pattern of humanity itself can begin to change. But there is one powerful idea that has shaped human history for thousands of years. And this is the belief in the right to kill in self-defense. In a short-term level, this idea seems logical. If someone threatens your life and you harm them first, you survive. But history shows us something else. From the perspective of another person's family, their community, their descendants, the story looks very different. Violence creates ripples. Retaliation leads to retaliation. Conflict leads to more conflict. War leads to more war. The ripple continues outwards through generations. And today this belief influences the decisions of governments, the structure of militaries, and the psychology of entire nations. It has become one of the densest ideas in human civilization. And yet humanity now possesses weapons capable of destroying life on Earth. If our destructive power continues to grow faster than our wisdom, we are approaching a dangerous threshold. But there is also hope. Human beings are capable of reflection. We are capable of learning. We are capable of evolving. So I'm involved with leading a universal, unconditional, global conscious and compassion movement where we propose a simple practice called psychic Tai Chi. Just as the martial art of Tai Chi cultivates balance and harmony through intentional movement, psychic Tai Chi cultivates balance through intentional thought. It begins with something very simple. Think about humanity. Think about the consequences of violence. Think about the possibility that the future of our species might depend on our ability to evolve beyond cycles of retaliation. Every thought becomes another pebble dropped into the water. Every reflection becomes another ripple. When enough ripples meet, they begin to resonate with each other. And when waves resonate, something powerful can happen. The wave becomes larger than any individual ripple alone. That's how transformation can begin. Not all at once, but gradually, through millions of small contributions. So I invite you to consider what is your own declaration of nonviolence, or write a thoughtful statement explaining why you may disagree. Both are valuable because writing requires thinking, and thinking influences the collective field of humanity. Each thought is another ripple, and history has shown us that great transformations often begin with small acts of courage and imagination. A drop joins another drop until an ocean forms. A grain of sand joins another grain of sand until a beach appears. A thought joins another thought until a new consciousness emerges. So, my invitation is to drop into this ocean. Add your grain of sand to the beach. The future of humanity may depend on the thoughts we choose to cultivate today. So, part of my heart and my focus is just to spread my thoughts of love, my thoughts of what nonviolence means. There's that situation where it's like the kill or be killed, but that's never the option. There's always more options. There's always more ways to transform. And what if the future of humanity depends not only on what we do, but what we think? And right now I'm inviting the world to join in an experiment in collective consciousness. The goal is to catalyze a quantum shift in how humanity thinks about violence, survival, and relationship to one another. It's just a seed of an idea, a song. The quantum realm is so powerful, it's so beautiful to contemplate in this way. Classical laws described by Isaac Newton helps humanity understand motion and gravity and the mechanics of the physical world, yet those laws don't fully explain the behavior and matter and energy at the quantum scale. At that level, the universe behaves in ways that challenge our assumptions about separateness and independence. The whole can behave as something greater than the sum of its parts. Human consciousness may also function in the ways that resemble that principle. Individual thoughts that interact and combine. This creates the larger collective pattern. Humanity is our life force. The fact that we can perceive anything is perfection. It's a miracle. The fact that we have bodies to inhabit, it's perfect. We are all perfect beings of the goddess that has created us, who has birthed us. We all have come through the portal of a womb of a mother, and we live upon her. She's so beautiful. She's so wonderful and worthy of reverence and our thought forms, And in our small way, by creating peace within yourself and peace with the world that is around you, that's the true work. That's how we're going to bring peace on earth. And it's in our small ways that this is attainable. So this has been my little live post of my own possible shift in the collective consciousness. We are capable of learning, reflecting, transformation. There is so many reasons for hope. Many people work tirelessly to create a better world. They participate in politics and organize protests. They protect ecosystems and challenge injustice. These efforts are important and often very necessary. And there's another dimension of action that receives less attention, and that's the dimension of thought. Psychic Tai Chi cultivates harmony through slow and attentive movement. And that movement in the brain, the harmony through intentional thought forms. And the practice is simple. Think consciously about humanity. Reflect on the consequences of violence. Consider the possibility of nonviolence as a guiding principle for our species. Each act of reflection becomes another ripple in the collective field of consciousness. And when many people participate, we resonate with one another. And this resonation may be eventually strong enough to shift the entire field itself. Write down as a form of participation. Thinking deeply often leads to writing, and this speech here is going to become a blog that I post soon. Such a transition is not going to occur overnight. However, it is occurring, and it will emerge gradually through countless acts of thought, conversation, reflection, and creativity. Each person contributes in their own way. Add your drop. Add your drop. You are a powerhouse. You are a electromagnetic supercomputer. You are a powerhouse. And just the fact that you're turned on, you're aware, you can see your body, and you have a body, and you can see me, that's perfection. We are perfect. We're perfect. Just to be here, every single cell working in resonance with its order, creating us, that's perfection in life itself. And it's our participation in this that is really gonna add to the collective, add to the shift. And the shift represents a transformation in human consciousness that may help prevent humanity from self-destructing as a species on a planet called Earth. What if each and every one of us carries within us the intrinsic potential to change the world? And what if we were possible to activate this potential simply through the proactive act of thinking? Humanity now faces existential challenges that threaten our collective future. And it may therefore be imperative that each of us, in whichever way we can, pay particular attention to the state of humanity as a whole. And it's really how can such a transformation occur? You know, the morphic resonance in the field of collective consciousness, imagining there's this existence of a quantum morphic field that represents the collective consciousness of humanity, activating this with love, questioning the right to kill in self-defense, the efficacy of it. Not whether it's right or wrong, really. It's really, is it effective? From a temporal perspective, the temporal being not the quantum, right, where we are, the temporal perspective, the logic seems clear, right? If someone attempts to harm you and you prevent that harm by harming them first, you may survive in the short term. And from this perspective, the principle appears justified. However, the reality The short run is only one aspect of the reality, of the temporal. Now, from a quantum perspective, the situation appears entirely different. At the deepest level, harming another ultimately harms the whole because we are all fragments of a single human community. Put simply, what comes around goes around. If you kill someone in the name of self-defense, their family and community may perceive you as the aggressor. The ripple of violence continues outward generation after generation, like the pebble dropped into still water. A short-term solution in temporal reality can therefore create long-term consequences in the deeper field of human consciousness. Violence in the cycle of war. The belief in the right to kill in self-defense forms the psychological foundation for much of the modern military-industrial system and the justification for war on every side of every conflict. If humanity reaches the point where our capacity to destroy exceeds our capacity to reason, the trajectory of this belief leads inevitably toward mutual destruction. There's so much reason for hope. Humans are only doomed if we are unable to develop our capacity for reason and compassion faster than our capacity for destruction. Many people take action in the physical world. However, what I'm saying here is something a little different. It's a form of action in the metaphysical level of consciousness. It's thought, intentional thought. If enough people consciously cultivate nonviolent thought patterns, the combined resonance may become strong enough to counter the gravitational pull of violent ideology within the collective field of consciousness. This may help facilitate a quantum shift in humanity's collective awareness. Oh, Pumpkin has something to say. Let's go and help her. Come here, Mama. Pumpkin. Pumpkin. Be on the camera for a second. You're my dream catcher. I'll stand by it. Stand by my dreams. My dreams are for us, for our minds, for our peace of mind, and for the thought forms. Yeah. What if it was possible to activate this intrinsic potentiality simply through the proactive act of thinking? What is the war but the continuance of this thought form? It's kind of like the 1,000 monkey kind of thought, the collective consciousness of our humanity. Well, I love you too, Dan. I pray for us as a species. I pray for us as individuals. I come to understand that the Newtonian laws of physics fail at the quantum level, right? We encounter an entirely new set of laws at this level. And the contradiction, the old laws that we relied on, no longer are equal, no longer the whole is no longer equal to the sum of its parts. The whole is now always greater than the sum of its parts. And this is because we are engaged in a process of the evolution of human consciousness. We're going through a transition. We are moving from the limited perspective of temporal reality into the limitless perspective of quantum reality. In order to make this transition, we must thread the eye of the needle. We must shed much of the density which we acquired in our endeavor to just survive in this material, temporal realm. It may be imperative to our future as a species called humanity on a planet called Earth. We're concerned with one thought form in particular, which is the right to kill in self-defense. And I'm not claiming that this is good or bad, wrong or valid or invalid, better or worse. I'm attempting to question the efficacy of this thought form. I'm claiming that whether or not the thought form called the right to kill in self-defense is effective or not. It's a matter of perspective, namely temporal perspective versus quantum perspective. We acknowledge that in a temporal sense, if someone is trying to harm you or kill you, and you're able to prevent them from harming or killing you, by harming them or killing them before they harm you or kill you, and they end up harmed or dead, and you end up not harmed, right? In the short run, you're successful in the temporal sense. The right, at least in this temporal short run, holds muster. That right holds muster. The temporal reality is a realm of appearances, behind the veil of appearances that reside in the true nature of reality, that is not temporal in nature, it's quantum in nature, and at the quantum level, it is not possible to harm someone else without harming oneself, because in a quantum sense, we are all fractures of the one being called humanity. What comes around goes around. From your perspective, that person that you harmed, that harm ripples through their families and their perspective and their descendants. The dilemma becomes a lesson. And on a positive note, we're only doomed if we are unable or incapable of propelling or compelling our capacity to reason, to get ahead of and stay ahead of our capacity for destruction. I encourage everyone to participate, to evolve your thought forms, for unity and cohesion, to call less to this degree of insustainability, and to call into a degree of sustainability which is capable of resisting the gravitational force of perpetuating their forever war. In the quantum field, the collective consciousness of the humanity is all of our birthrights. That's why we're here. We've all joined forces, and we've all came to life. And this is why I invite you, no matter who you are, no matter what you think, to write it down. If you believe in nonviolence, if you believe in violence, write it down. Start thinking. Keep thinking. It's your thoughts. And I encourage your thoughts. Each thought is like a dropping of a pebble in still water. The accumulative effect of all the thoughts combined in the sense of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. This is harmonic resonance. Sufficiently as we each day think clearer and challenge ourselves. This is how we're generating hope for peace on earth. So join me as I'm just a little grain of sand. My thoughts are just tiny little pebbles. And hopefully together we can see something emerge. On the quantum field, it's you that's speaking this message, and I'm the one watching. We really are magnanimous. We are amazing. We are capable. We are much more than a temporal sense of reality. We are quantum beings. And our temporal reality is just how we maintain ourselves. But in the quantum realm, there really is nothing separating any of us, any of our timeline, any of our energy. And in this quantum relating, compassion can flood in, and you can challenge your temporal thought forms in a way that enables the transformation and the awakening process. What is the awakening process if not thought forms, chewing on your thought forms and allowing those thought forms to affect you? If the thought form is compassion, what is compassion? Sitting with it, breathing with it, being with it, understanding what is the quantum realm. What is my quantum reality? It is your birthright. You have a quantum reality. So just by thinking, that is the awakening process. That is the initiation. You have all been welcomed and initiated. And it's your process. It's a real living process. We're in real time, living in real time. And this is a slow process. However, the earth is a divine goddess of light, of love, of compassion. And we are all embodiments of that. To have a body, to have a mind that can think, that can see. This is perfection. We are all perfect. And I feel complete. Thank you for being here with me and listening to me. As I started and stated in the beginning, I woke up to a mountain lion who came into my pasture and killed all the babies. I only had 3, but the 3 sheep are gone, and it just sparked something in me where, my hair, I was sleeping and my hair still isn't brushed. I'm still in my pajamas, which read, "Love is love is love." Think about it. There's your initiation. And I adore you all. Have a great and wonderful day. Remember, silence connects us all deeply and is where all the bird songs come from and where they all go to. And the temporal reality is only one form of our reality. There's a quantum reality. And in that way, there's so much hope. There's so much light. There's so much here for us. And the earth has given us so much resources. So many resources that other beings from other planets are being seeded here to come to live and to enjoy. And it's also another reason why protecting women and their children are so important and so valuable. This planet is a house of consciousness and abundance, and it is paradise. And it's only the temporal state that we've been kind of sold into that all this madness is happening. And through activating a quantum understanding that doesn't, negate the temporal, but it just opens up a pathway that the temporal isn't the only thing. It's not the only reality here. It's not as black as white as they want to sell it. It's not. It's all the colors and all the dimensions, and it goes into infinity, where one doesn't equal one and never has. One is infinite and complete. I mean, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 and never has. 1 is complete, 2 is complete, and 3 is complete, 4 is complete, and they're all completely infinite, and they're all completely valid, just like each one of us are. And just by perceiving a self and a temporal reality is perfection in the quantum reality. So this temporal state that we're living in is a gift and is completely perfect. And the quantum reality gives birth to this temporal reality. And it's really important to not forget that, to not negate the quantum fields because it's so tough to understand. Because it's through that understanding of what nonviolence is, and it's not pacifism. I'm not saying pacifism. I'm saying nonviolence. What nonviolence is, and how we can utilize it to establish our power and to reclaim and to activate peace on earth fully. And that's my mission here on this planet is to bring peace on earth. And the how is together and using the quantum realm to spring forth this consciousness is totally the way. And so I invite you to do your own psychic Tai Chi. That's the psychic Tai Chi I'm talking about. I invite you to do your own psychic Tai Chi, and I bless you on your path. I bless you on your day. I bless you and all your relatives. And thank you for being you, for showing up, for being human. Have a great and wonderful, beautiful Thursday.